Hey everybody, happy Valentine's Day from Ross. I'm Ross and you are. But I was wondering about Valentine's Day. You know, you celebrate it with candy and flowers and romantic dinners with your wife or your girlfriend. I got that part, but I was wondering did it come from, Valentine's Day? Well, I looked it up because I have this thing called Google on the computer. And you always can refer to that spot. And I was wondering, how did it start? Who was Saint Valentine? Well, he was a real Roman priest in around 250 AD. And he had Christian principles about the sacred institution of marriage. At that time, Claudius, the emperor of Rome, would not allow young men to be married. Interesting, right? Why is that fact interesting? Because a married soldier cannot go out in the field and fight a battle when he's worried about his wife and vice versa. So they didn't allow young men to be married. But it obviously bothered Saint Valentine that was the case. That, hey, they were having affairs, and polygamy may have been a big thing at that time. But he was arrested, Saint Valentine, for secretly marrying people in a Christian environment. Can you imagine that? He got arrested for doing that. Unbelievable. That's why he was put in prison, and eventually he was beheaded. He was tortured in 3 different ways, by the way. And the story happens where he was in prison, and he believed, as a Roman priest, in Christian principles about marriage, the sacred institution of marriage, one man, one woman, married together under God's blessing. You got the picture. But he was put in prison for secretly marrying people. That's an unreal thought. It's kind of interesting for me to think about that. But what the story goes, depending on where you read, is that he prayed for a Roman's judge, his daughter, that was blind. And she was blind, and he prayed for her. I don't know how they connected. He was in prison, how the daughter that was blind connected with him. But his name is Asterius. The emperor was Claudius at the time. But he prayed for her, the story, the legend of the story, and she was healed. And because of that power of that healing, he became, according to legend, a Christian because of what happened. Imagine how God uses people in so many different ways to accomplish so many different things. And it may not make sense to you, but the Christian principle of marriage makes sense. The healing of God makes sense. And how it affects people makes perfect sense. God's power in people's lives. And it never changes. But he eventually got beheaded. But they didn't behead him. They also made him suffer, according to the legends. They stoned him, and they also beat him, and then eventually beheaded him. But it's an amazing thought. That's how Valentine's Day, and he wrote supposedly a letter to the girl that he healed, and he signed it "From Your Valentine" as Saint Valentine's. And that happened, and eventually the secular society along the way makes it something that it was not originally, even like Christmas or Easter or Passover. You get the picture. But I thought it was an interesting story about candy, flowers, and dinners to really who was Saint Valentine's. It's about the heart. His heart was very intense and sincere about the institution and the sacred institution of marriage. And he was eventually assassinated or persecuted or beheaded because of his belief. Stand true to your beliefs, no matter what they are. If the conviction that you have in your life is what you believe in, no matter what it is, stand by that conviction. Your conscience will never lie to you. And your heart, 1 John says, your heart Valentine's Day, may condemn you. But rest assured that in 1 John it says that God is bigger than your heart. Sometimes as a Christian, you may fall short, and your heart may condemn you for falling short and doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Aren't we all guilty of that? But rest assured and be encouraged that God is bigger than your heart. In other words, He recognizes your humanity and your sinfulness like mine, and He gives you credit for the good things you're doing for Him, whether your heart is condemning you sometimes for doing the wrong thing. So don't give up on doing the right thing and standing strong in your convictions. Saint Valentine, God used him in a mighty way. God can use you and He can use me if we stand strong on our convictions and our beliefs and what we stand true and base our beliefs on. And that's God's Word is the final word. So hopefully this message will find you somewhere and find you encouraged. Happy Valentine's Day. Maybe you're spending it with your wife, your girlfriend, your family. Candy's good, flowers are good, dinners are good. It's all good. But I wanted to just share that moment with you about what is Valentine's Day. So until next time, always remember my motto: do what you can, where you can, when you can, the best you can. But do something. And remember, if you want to get involved in missions locally in Atlanta, go to rtgm.org. You'll be glad you did. Do something for the grace of God. You'll be glad you did. Take care.